is Art Nauman, and I'm the Executive Chef over at Marjorie Doyle Rockwell Center in Cohoes, New York. I've been in the culinary field for about 40 years now, with a career that's extended over any number of different fields. I've been fortunate enough to cook for celebrities, for athletes, even for royalty. I have cooked on estates, in penthouses, and on yachts. Right now I cook in a happy little kitchen at a house at the top of the hill, and never have I been more satisfied at the end of the day than after I take care of my residents, knowing that I've taken care of some wonderful, very special people. It's been a pleasure cooking professionally, but it's an absolute privilege now of what I do in cooking for my residents, and I'm sure the rest of the chefs feel the same way. Continuing our virtual culinary exploration series, I'm bringing some holiday special treats to your kitchens now. We're going to start with a cranberry compote, and we're going to move on to some potato pancakes, also known as latkes. Let's begin. I'm starting with 12 ounces of cranberries. Okay, why 12 ounces? That's how big the bag is that you'll get in your store. That's the only reason why. I'm adding those to a pot. And you hear they're going to start going. And to that, I'm going to add 1 cup of sugar. This is regular white sugar, and it sounds like a lot, and it is, but there's a reason for that. Cranberries on their own are cranberries are very, very tart on their own. So what we have to do is we have to counter that tartness with some sugar, with some sweetness. Another reason is because we're going to add an ingredient a little bit later that adds a bitter factor to it. Why bitter? Tongue has 4 taste buds sensitive to salt, bitter, sweet, and sour. The sour is the tart of our cranberries. We're adding the sugar, sweet, that's 2. And now I'm going to sneak in something that may sound a little bit odd, all right? What I've done here is I've pureed an entire orange. I did not peel it, the entire orange. Now, a lot of you are thinking, but isn't it bitter? I've always been told that the white, the pith, P-I-T-H, is bitter, okay? And it is. But what we're doing now is now we've got 3 taste buds that are gonna get hit. We're gonna have the sweet, the tart, and the bitter. And what that does, that's gonna explode in your mouth, okay? That's when you go, bah, this tastes wonderful. Another thing that I'm gonna sneak into this mix, 1 cinnamon stick. If you don't have a cinnamon stick, don't worry about it. 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon if you like it. That's not a problem. Another thing, just a drop of orange juice. That's just gonna help everything cook down and dissolve. Now this is going to go on for a little while, all right? And it looks a bit messy, but what's going to happen is it's going to all cook down. You're going to see that the berries are going to start popping, all right? We don't want to rush this. Let it alone. Let it alone, all right? And you're going to see also it's very wet, okay? Don't worry about that. You don't be concerned about that. What happens, cranberries have pectin. Pectin is a natural thickener, okay? So once this cooks down and all the berries pop, it's gonna be loose and it's gonna look a little bit wet. We're gonna put it into the cooler, put it into a bowl, we're gonna chill it, and you're gonna see it's gonna firm up beautifully, okay? We're just gonna keep cooking this, and we're just gonna let the berries pop, and we're gonna let the berries reduce. It's gonna take probably about 5-10 minutes all said and done. And again, all right, it's been about 10-15 minutes and our cranberries have cooked down like we thought they were going to. But notice, all that liquid now has tightened up, all right? It's thickened. That's because the pectin did what pectin's supposed to do. Before we know that it's perfect, always taste, always taste, always taste. I like it. I like it a lot. There's sweet on the side, there's tart, swallowed down, and there's that little hint of the orange peel that just balances everything out. So it's not overly sweet, it's not overly tart, it's balanced. You want everything in balance when you cook. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take the cranberries, I'm going to put them into this bowl, and I'm going to pop them into my cooler, and I'm going to let them cool for about a half an hour, and you'll see it's going to firm up even more, okay? Nice, beautiful cranberry compote. It's going to go perfectly with our potato pancakes, our latkes, which we're going to move on to now. Time to make the latkes. Potato pancakes are actually something that's very near and dear to my heart. It's one of the first things that I learned to cook, and it was in the small kitchen at my grandmother's house. Around the holiday time, we'd go, we'd grate the potatoes, we'd grate the onions. I would sit with my grandfather, my pop-pop, and my nana would run the kitchen, bossing both of us around to no end. We used what's called a box grater. You've all seen these, bunch of sides. We're gonna use the coarse one, okay? You can use a food processor. I encourage you to use a food processor. It keeps your fingers safe. In my grandmother's kitchen, however, it was a no-no. For when we bought my grandmother for the holidays a food processor and gave it to her and showed her how wonderful it shreds potatoes, she looked at it and went, yeah, get it off the table here, and gave me the box grater, and my grandfather laughed, and I grated 5 pounds of potatoes because we were having potato pancakes that night. That's the way it is. Use a processor. It saves your fingers, saves your time. Let's start. I grated an onion. I prefer a lot of onion in my potato pancakes. There are recipes all over the place. I was born knowing how to do it. It's just how it is with us, with my tribe. So you grate the onion, all right? But what you're gonna wanna do with the onion, if you notice, there is a lot of liquid in the onions, okay? We don't want that in the potato pancakes. It's not gonna work for us. So we're gonna squeeze out the onions as best we can, all right? If you wanna put them in a colander and press, that's fine too. I'm squeezing out my onions. They're relatively dry. I'm gonna put them into my bowl. Next are gonna be my shredded potatoes. I shredded these ahead of time, save us a little bit of time. Same thing, I'm adding these to my bowl. Maybe about a 2-part potato to 1-part onion ratio is good. I lean a little bit heavier, but again, I like them, and that's the way I've always had them. So, on the side. Now we have our potatoes, we have our onions, and it's really nice and simple. Salt. Don't be afraid of the salt, okay? One of the best chefs I ever worked for, one of the best words of wisdom he ever gave me. Don't be afraid of salt and pepper, all right? Too much is too much. Potatoes need salt. They have to have it. So I'm gonna sprinkle it. Again, just like with the sugar, it looks like a lot, but these potatoes absorb this salt, okay? Next, I'm gonna add some pepper. Same thing. My nana cooked with pepper. I'm not gonna do too much, okay? Give it a little stir just to start incorporating some things, all right? Next, we're gonna add some eggs, okay? I'm gonna start with 2. This is one of those recipes that you go by feel. You don't want it too loose, you don't want it too tight, you want it just right, and you don't want it so it's cakey in the middle and chewy in the middle. So you want to use as few eggs as possible, and then you want to use as little flour as possible. Flour is going to work with the eggs, and it's going to help keep everything together, but again, not a lot, okay? You want potato pancakes. You don't want a flour pancake that tastes like potato. You want a potato pancake. And we just mix. And once we know it's the consistency that we want, and again, from doing this for so many years, I know what I'm looking for. And we're right about there. A couple of alternatives, if you so choose. Quite often, these are made with potato flour, all right? If you want to stick gluten-free, cornmeal. Cornmeal will thicken this beautifully. It will also add a nice little crunch, extra crunch to the potato pancakes. And with that, you have a nice gluten-free side dish. You can even make sandwiches out of them. We'll get to that later. Okay, now that our mixture is ready, it's time to put it in our pan. We've heated our oil. Be careful, please, okay? Chefs use their hands. If you're not comfortable doing this, absolutely. A couple of spoons, an ice cream scoop works beautifully, all right? And I'm taking as much as I want to use. They can be small, make little ones for hors d'oeuvres. It's about 4 ounces. And notice, we're dealing with hot oil, okay? I'm gonna give that a little press with my spatula to flatten it out. And now we let this baby cook. Don't rush. Be careful because hot oil does splatter. I'm gonna turn this down a little bit actually, and we're gonna cook. We're looking for the edges to become a nice crisp golden brown, and then we're gonna turn it over on the other side. A light color doesn't really work for these. You can go dark, all right? They're tastier that way, they're crunchier that way, the flavor comes out more that way. When they're set, drain them on a paper towel, platter them up beautifully, and we're gonna match them with that wonderful cranberry compote we made earlier. Notice, see how thick it got? Beautiful, beautiful. Just happily place it in our bowl. All right. Some berries are still whole. That's great. Texture in this is a wonderful, wonderful thing. And the flavors make your mouth explode. Place that down. On this side, our pancake is ready. Carefully, I'm using 2 spatulas. All right, I'm going underneath and carefully rolling it over, giving it a little baby pat, 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 and I'm gonna leave it alone. What we've got is a nice golden brown, and yes, there is a lot of oil. There's a nice golden brown, a little bit dark, like I said, but that's what we want. And we're gonna let those cook and become tasty. Take it, drain it on a paper towel, present it like this. I hope you've enjoyed our virtual culinary exploration series. This recipe, potato pancakes, latkes, and cranberry compote will be coming to your communities in December. I hope you enjoy. Thank you for your time. I'm Art Nauman. Have a great day. Oh, hi, you caught me. Well, you may have been wondering what happens to everything when they're done doing these video shoots. Come into the world of a chef. What I've done is I've taken one of these delicious potato pancakes and I've stuck in the back, and Chef Steve up here is making a delicious pulled pork, so I stole a little bit from him. I'm putting that on my potato pancake. Next, I'm gonna take some of this delicious cranberry compote and I'm gonna cover the pork with the cranberry. See where this is going? Another potato pancake. Uh-oh, my sandwich is ready. Now, if you'll excuse me, oh yeah, baby, enjoy.